Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Voices of the Vic podcast with myself, Joe Thomas. And tonight I'm joined by Cam Smart, and we are going to be discussing the 2-2 draw with Plymouth Argyle, which took place last night at Home Park. Obviously, a very frustrating end to the game, which we'll obviously go through and discuss a bit further shortly. But first of all, Cam, how are you doing, mate? I know you were at the At Your Place event this week. We were just talking about it briefly. First of all, did you have a good time at the event, and how are you doing?
Yeah. First of all, I could be better because I thought I'd be kicking off my weekend watching Watford get 3 points. Always sets a good tone when that happens, but not this time. So yeah, having a bit of a lazy weekend at the moment as a result, but yeah, not too bad at the moment. The At Our Place event, thought it was a really pleasant evening. It was reassuring to hear from people like Scott and Clev speak so positively about what's going on at Watford. Yeah, really pleasant evening all round. Scott was actually in the waiting room beforehand, just pouring pints, as if he's one of us, which, it's always good to see. You can say what you want about him. I've got my criticisms of him, but he is very much one of us in this, I think. And yeah, it is nice to see him sort of not afraid to get involved. So yeah, I'm all good. How about yourself, Joe?
Yeah, I'm good. Obviously, it was my birthday the other day, so yeah, the ripe old age of 38 now. And to celebrate, I went out for a cracking breakfast this morning with one of my friends from work, which was good. And then I went over to Eastleigh today to watch Eastleigh v Wealdstone, to watch our very own Adrian Mariappa. And
Yeah, made a little friend there, didn't you?
yeah, it was quite a surprise actually. He was I called him over after, because I was in the end where the players come off, and he came over and yeah, had a nice little chat with him, and a I'd say friendly catch up. But yeah, it was nice. And you know what? He was I said to him, I said, he looked calm, really calm at the back, and he was winning all his headers that were coming his way. And it's a level, obviously I think it's a level that he's still too good for. I think he could probably come up to League Two still and play. Obviously I know he was at Salford last season.
Yeah,
I know he's at a club which is his boyhood club, as is from where he's from. So respect to him for going to play there, but he could certainly still do a job in League Two, I think. So yeah, it was great to see him. Um, Oh, evening, Mike, or Michael from Jamaica. Nice to see you on, mate. Yeah, so we'll jump straight in, Cam. Obviously, a really, well, I'll say frustrating draw, because obviously we've
very.
conceded with virtually the last kick of the game. However, one thing you mentioned, or we both said, to be fair, in our chat before, was that we would take a draw before the game. Um,
Yeah,
And in fairness, listening to Tom before the game, I don't know if you saw what he said in his pre-match interview, is that we hadn't been able to we put in good performances, or a couple of good performances on top of the wins away from home, like Leeds United being one, probably deserved more, didn't get it. So it was a case of turning losses into draws. But it was a frustrating game yesterday, and it probably felt more like a defeat than actually a good point, didn't it?
yeah. You mentioned turning losses into draws, but that was very much turning 3 points into one. We should never have been coming away with anything less than a win there, unfortunately. But it is what it is. Like we said, I would have taken a draw. Plymouth lost one home game all season. They've beat some good teams there. I think they're ninth in the home form table. I had a look earlier, but that
Yeah.
was before the 3 p.m., so it could have changed. Um, yeah, they beat Sunderland there last time out, I believe. So
Yeah.
uh, yeah, they are, they're a hard team to go up against at Home Park, and a lot of teams have gone there and they've been second best, but you can't say that we were second best last night. We put up a really good display, and I think at this stage it's more about that than actually getting the points. So yeah, I
Yeah.
am very content after last night.
Well, there was it's interesting because I think there was a stat I read that Plymouth actually scored 6+ goals. Sorry, 6 goals in 90+ minutes at home park this
Well,
season. So obviously they're really strong at home. They're a team that just doesn't give up, and they didn't want to give up last
exactly.
night, did they? Um,
Yeah, and I don't think you can put it down to anything we did wrong necessarily. I've seen a lot of people saying that we're terrible at game management. That was the first time all season that we've dropped points from a winning position. And it came against a team that have a habit of doing that. So I don't think that's any coincidence. I don't think we do have a game management problem. I think it just wasn't meant to be. And yeah, home park's been a pretty special place this season for 90th minute goals. So it is what it is. I'd say if we weren't meant to get the 3 points, then yeah, it is what it is.
yeah, I mean we'll go through talking about the game and the team and the players and things. First of all, we'll start with like Daniel Backman. Obviously, started in goal yesterday. Obviously, no surprises always. Um, I thought he had a really quiet game, all things considered.
Yeah,
Um, the 2 goals, a lot of people saying worldy strikes. Gray said in his post-match interview that Rooney had said that his first one, excuse me, was one of the best goals he'd seen as a manager. Obviously, that was until he probably hadn't really spoken to him until he saw that goal to equalise at the end.
yeah,
Um, I think, I mean, one thing I said in the chat, obviously, was about Backman, and he made a good decision within his 6 yard box yesterday. Plymouth had a corner, and rather than being hesitant and not knowing what to do, he came out and punched the ball, and he got the ball clear. Other than that, I'll be completely honest. I actually don't remember him having too many touches of the
no.
ball all game. It
Well,
was really strange, wasn't it, yesterday from his
Plymouth had
perspective?
3 shots on target, and 2 of them went in. There's been a lot of people on Daniel Backman's back purely because he didn't dive for either of them. To which I
Me
say
being one.
that is utter bullshit. I'm gonna have to say. It doesn't matter if he dives. I mean, I saw someone else point out we saw Ben Hamer dive away at Bristol City last season after the ball had already gone in the net, and what did that do for him? Absolutely nothing. So
Yeah,
yeah, look, if a shot's unstoppable, it's unstoppable. I'm not blaming the keeper. However, something Lou Orns pointed out, so credit to him here. On that first goal, Backman takes a little step to his left before the shot, and that makes it very, very hard to shift your momentum back to the right, which is obviously where Andre Gray is going to shoot there to his right. So yeah, he put one hand behind his back metaphorically there
yeah,
for saving that shot. So it's a marginal error. It's nothing huge, but it's the little things like that. I'm sure it's probably going to get picked up on in training, and
yeah,
whoever our goalkeeping coach is nowadays is probably going to mention that to Dan, and hopefully he'll learn from it.
yeah. Of course. Yeah, yeah. I do agree with what you're saying. Obviously, they're both. I mean, he's probably not going to do anything like that again all season, is he? Let's be honest. And until he comes to Vicarage Road in March.
Yeah,
So, yeah. Um, but yeah, he probably couldn't do anything, and it's just frustrating because so many goals I think we've seen this season, he has just stood there, and because I just keep seeing him standing there, it's really frustrating. You just want your
yeah.
keeper to do a little bit more.
No, I
Um,
do understand.
but yeah, going on to the back three, as it were, we had Porteous, Pollock, and Morris last night. We'll start with Porteous. Obviously, I think that Porteous played really well last night. He was really good it was a real surprise at just how much the guys at the back were getting forward last night, and when
Yeah.
we were getting chances in and around the box, it was good to see. Obviously, the goal, one standout moment, Pollock putting the ball across for Porteous to knock in. There was the chance that Porto had just before, or a few minutes before that, with the one that he side-footed wide, where he probably could have taken it
Oh
with
yeah.
his left foot. Probably the wrong decision to try and side foot it there, being so far over on that side of the goal. But nonetheless, he did his best with it.
Yeah. He's a
What did
centre
you
back.
make of? What's that? Sorry.
He's a centre back. He's not got the bio striker instincts.
Yeah, true. That is true. Yeah. So, what did you make of Porto's performance yesterday overall?
I thought he was outstanding, and not just yesterday. I think he's had a real upturn in form over our last few games. I think he's definitely a nailed-on starter for the foreseeable future, and yeah, he will always have that moment in him. There was one moment he got turned in the first half, and it led to Obafemi getting a shot away. But other than
Oh
that, I
yeah.
thought he was phenomenal. And
Was
yeah, I really hope that continues for him. You know what I hated? I hated Sky, the commentator mentioning the red card at the Euros. I mean, it's typical. I know they've got nothing else to talk about when it comes to Watford, but they must bring it up every single time we're on TV. And for that reason alone, it's great to see Porteous playing well again. So yeah, hopefully he continues with that kind of form, and obviously the goals help too.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And that's his second goal this month, isn't it?
Yeah,
With the
that's
goal
right.
at Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah,
He's had a real good month for us. Been really impressed with him. And obviously he came back and did that interview obviously with Katie and said he'd struggled and things coming back at the start of the season and that. But yeah, he's certainly cementing his team back in the starting 11, isn't he? With his assured performances. And Pollock's the
absolutely.
same. Pollock's the same, isn't he? I mean, he's just good every week. Like I don't ever really have a bad word to say about the guy. Like
No,
he just looks good at the back every week, and like yeah, I think the guy just oozes class. Like I get more and more impressed with him each time I see him. Like he's learning. You can tell he's learning. And there's still some aspects of his game that he could maybe do a bit better. But overall, like for a guy that's come in who's starting his first full season, I think he's superb, absolutely superb.
yeah, absolutely. And it's a different role for Matty Pollock than what we're used to seeing him in this season. Obviously, Sierrata had to get the cab all the way from Heathrow, so no start for him. And yeah, Pollock had to slot into that middle role. He took to it fantastically. I mean, I always took him for a middle centre back just because he's a big guy, he's not the quickest, and he wins every header, and he definitely commands that back line. So yeah, no doubt he's capable of it. But I did think that would maybe stop or limit his passing ability a little bit. Sort of like what we saw with Wesley Hoot when he had to play in the middle of a back three. We didn't quite see that intricate passing that we were used to. But with Pollock, he was spraying the ball about like he normally would. And yeah, it started so many attacks for us. So yeah, I was really impressed with Matty Pollock once again. And if it wasn't for Chatvertadze, we've got a runaway player of the season there.
Yeah, I completely agree. I completely agree. Does he? I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know what the age thing is on young player. I take it he's above the bracket for a young player, is he?
I think Matty's 22, and I think the cutoff for young player, like officially, is 23.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but I mean, would we count? I suppose we count him as a young player. It's his first full season, like you said.
Yeah,
He's sort of been in and out seasons prior, but yeah, it's his first full season. He's had a few loans. He nearly left in January.
yeah,
Nearly
he
went
did.
off to Belgium. I can't believe that deal. We would have shipped him off to Belgium if we could get a deal for Antonio Tikvic over the line. That
Yeah,
what a trade that would have been. But
imagine that.
Yeah, but now we've got both, so I guess we're happy. But yeah, young player of the season, why not? I'm giving him my vote right now.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. If he's in the category, I'll be voting for him as well.
Yeah,
Fully
that's for sure.
deserved. Um, but I have to say, actually, just before I talk about this next player, I've just got to mention. Obviously, I do feel sorry for Serialta because he went to international duty with Chile. He was an unused sub for 2 games. He's flown back. He's come to Heathrow. He's had to get a cab all the way down to Plymouth. And his one memorable moment from being in Plymouth is having to turn round and watch Andre Gray's shot fly into the back of the net. Like it's not really been a good couple of weeks for him overall, really. But
I bet
yeah,
that cab driver's laughing though. How much money would that make him? A trip all the way to Plymouth.
I actually nearly had a look on Uber actually just to see out of interest. But I do remember someone once upon a time. I can't remember how long ago it was now. It was a long, long time ago where someone for I think they were playing for Charlton. They were playing up at Blackburn, and they'd forgotten something, so they had to stay behind or something like that, or they were having maybe having a baby, but they ended up getting a cab all the way up to Blackburn from Charlton, and it cost like 426 quid. So it's quite a distance. So I imagine now with today's rate, that I'm talking like a long time.
Yeah,
So I would imagine it was probably between 500 and 600 quid. I imagine.
and for a day's work, that's fantastic. Fair play to that cab driver.
Yeah, he was probably laughing, wasn't he? Probably
Yeah,
laughing. Um, but yeah, moving over the back line. Obviously, talking about young players of the season, I've got to say James Morris coming into that position at the back, at left centre back. Obviously, everyone kind of raised an eyebrow at the beginning of the season when it first happened, but now, I mean, he seems really suited to the role, and he seems like he's really settled in and enjoys playing alongside Porto and Pollock, doesn't he?
yeah, he's comfortable, and I didn't really think he set a foot wrong all game. He had a really good understanding with Larucci, I thought. He sort of complemented him very well, sort of allowing him to get forward. And out of the three, Morris was probably the least adventurous going forwards, but I thought he had a really, really good game on the ball, just progressing it when we needed him to, using his body well and yeah, making the right passes. I thought he was fantastic at that. Off the ball, I don't think he was troubled as much as the other two. He definitely didn't have near as much to do. And actually, I was watching with one of my mates from uni, and he said in around the 90th minute, when did Morris come on? Because he didn't really notice him. And I think that's fair. I think he had a quietly good game. But yeah, to be honest, I think that back three, providing they're all still fit, I'd start all three of them next game.
Yeah, I agree. I think it could be a cemented back three now moving forward. It'll be hard for Serialta to get back in while they're playing so well. And I think,
We've got an answer.
Paid £500 for his taxi. Wow, okay.
Taxi.
Oh, thanks, Jess. Yeah, that's
that cab driver's laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah, I think, just talking about the back line again, I think, the fact that Backman had a good game yesterday just shows how well that the back three did yesterday. Because usually, I saw when they brought the stats up before the game yesterday that Watford were one of the worst for shots faced and shots on target.
Yeah.
So the fact that we kept Plymouth quiet, really on a ground that they're confident at, just goes to show just how well they're doing at the moment, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we normally leak chances, but that was a really comfortable performance, I thought, defensively. Even though I'll say we were a little bit vulnerable on the break with the midfield not really being there. The defense stood up to it perfectly, and I'll even credit the wing backs because I think they can be really suspect defensively. But I thought they stood up to the task really well. And yeah, as a unit between the five of them, I thought they all did a fantastic job. I mean, Plymouth only had 3 shots on target, as we mentioned. So yeah, it is testament to how good those guys were.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of people on social media were kind of moaning, saying, "Oh, Watford leak goals. We've
Mm.
conceded another 2 goals." But I don't think you can kind of really moan in the same way as what you would do when you look at some of the other goals that we have conceded in
Yeah,
previous games, because these are two uncharacteristically good strikes from a player that you wouldn't expect to do that. I mean, you wouldn't have been you. Look, I'm not saying he scored some important goals for us, but I never once saw Andre Gray try curling in a shot from
no,
the corner of the 18-yard box in
he
the
had
last
he had
minute.
a few volleys in him though. To be fair to him,
He did, yeah,
I
and
think he could still.
I think you touched one of them in the back of the rookery, nearly, didn't you once?
He no, he scored that big goal against Palace, though, didn't he? That was a volley. And do you remember Burnley away, the 3-1 win? He scored a beautiful volley there.
Yeah, he
I think
did. He
I think
did.
one was off his toe and one was off his shin, but they
Yeah.
went in.
I mean, as we say, he scored some important goals. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have played in a cup final.
Mm.
And he did score some other important goals for us. And I don't. He didn't really get too much stick last night. I didn't really hear too much being said in the away end towards him last night. But
No, what
I,
I didn't like though was when the moment we took the lead again, our fans seemed to be chanting, "Andre, what's the score?"
oh yeah, sorry, they did say that, and I did think
Yeah,
in my head, save that for the end,
yeah. Don't
like
we learn? Don't we learn anything? I
because
remember
I
being at Leicester away a few years ago, and we were saying some quite defamatory things towards Jamie Vardy
yeah,
right before he decided to score against us, and yeah, that went well. So let's just learn. Let's
yeah.
hold off on the chanting until we actually win, please.
We've done it to so many people. I remember us doing it at Vicarage Road to Neil Warnock when Sheffield United were really good at back in the day under Warnock. They came to Vicarage Road and we went 2-0 up, and all the Watford fans, obviously, in the moment you join in, I was one of them, and it was great to see him kind of slumped on the touchline. But they ended up winning the game 3-2, and he made a point of coming over to us at the end and goading us and winding us up. So things
Really
like you
well.
say, things always come back to bite us. So yeah, we just need to stop that. And at the end of the game, when the game's won, give a little moment when the players are going off. But yeah, Jess said Andre Gray's still costing us points all these years on. Yeah, yeah, that's
But
yeah.
have you seen that headline floating around back from the lockdown season? It reads in X3 terms, Andre Gray is effectively missing a penalty per match.
No, I haven't seen that. No.
He was hilarious in lockdown. The guy missed about 4 open goals every week. Do
Yeah,
you
he's
remember? Do you remember that 0-0 draw away at Bristol City? I don't know why you'd remember, but if anyone does, it's you. 0-0 draw away at Bristol City. I think Andre Gray made it up to 4th on trending on Twitter in the whole UK because it
is
was
that
the
the
only
one?
game on TV.
Is that the one that Dan Gosling got injured?
Oh, it might be. I don't
The one
know.
he
No,
got the serious injury where we didn't have a shot on target all game, or
yeah.
had one until like I think it was like the 90th minute. It was the most
Oh no,
diabolical game ever.
that was under Bilic. That one. I'm talking lockdown, and I think we had Vladimir Ivic. Um, you're not going to remember it. It's the most
No, I actually
forgettable
don't
thing ever.
remember it. Funny
And
enough, no.
I don't know why I remember it, but yeah, 0-0 away at Bristol City. Andre Gray put in a performance so bad it got him up to 4th on trending across the UK on Twitter. Honestly, every time the ball went near him, it just bounced off him.
Are you sure it was
And
Bristol City? Because I swear we had Ivic when we beat. Didn't we have Ivic when we beat Bristol City 6-0? Or was that?
no, that was Chisco. Come to
I was
think
that.
of it, was it
Oh,
Forest away?
I'm really trying to remember this game now, but
You're not going to remember it. You are not
it's
going to
gonna
remember.
bother me.
I'm
It's
telling you
gonna
now,
bother
it
me.
was a 0-0 draw where we barely got out of our own half. And Andre Gray put in a striker performance that Bayo would be proud of, really.
Now we can't give him too much stick. He's got 6 in 4
That's
now,
true.
hasn't he?
That's true.
6 in 4. The guy's on fire.
The
Bio's on
guy is on
fire.
fire.
Um, Yeah, moving on to the wing backs. Then obviously we
Mm.
kind of touched on them and the good performance they both put in yesterday. We'll start with Ryan Andrews. Um, Obviously, Ebisele's been playing the last few games, hasn't he? He's come in and he seems to be a starter ahead of Andrews now. Ebisele was obviously suspended yesterday for one game after picking up 5 yellow cards. So Andrews came back in. I thought he played really, really well yesterday for a guy that's obviously come back out. I was a little bit nervous about him coming back in because we've seen him in previous months when he's had a bit of a spell out of the team, maybe a couple of games, and he's come in and he's looked a bit nervous. But I thought he was really good last night. I thought he was great going forward, great passing the ball, wanting to go forward every opportunity. I thought he was also good defensively as well.
Yeah, I've got my problems with Ryan Andrews. I think he leaves a lot to be desired at times, but yesterday I thought he had a really solid game, especially defensively. I thought he did really, really well. And there was one moment him and Larouci had a little mishap on a counter attack, and it looked like Plymouth were going to be away, but Ryan Andrews used that pace of his, won it back, took someone on, and played a fantastic ball to get us on the front foot. So, yeah, really impressed with him. I will say I'd like a bit more from him going forwards. Maybe it's not his game. Maybe he's just a pure defensive right back, but I want a bit more from him going forwards. I think he can use that pace a bit more, and you could possibly accuse him of ball watching on Gray's second goal. To be honest, I don't really know who he's trying to mark there. He's not really blocking any passing lanes, or he's not blocking a shot. He's not picking anyone up. So yeah, he's just got eyes on the ball, and I don't think he needs to. I think he can easily move out and pick Gray up. But other than that, yeah, solid game. I will say I think Festi Ebisele should be straight back in because he's that good. But that's no slight on Ryan Andrews. I thought he was very solid.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because we've obviously got a lot of Saturday, Tuesday games coming up, haven't we?
Yeah,
Obviously, Bristol City's the first one on Tuesday night, followed by Queens Park Rangers on Saturday. I think we've then got a break, haven't we, between that and the next one? I don't think there's a. Is there? Is it Hull? Is it
that is
Hull on the
coming up at some
second?
point.
Is it Hull on the second or is it Hull on the 10th? I can't remember.
I'm not going to know off the top of my head.
Yeah, I know. I know that we've got Hull. When they showed the fixtures last night, they showed we're playing teams that are struggling.
They also showed that we're playing Bristol City today.
Yeah, I
Interesting.
know. I couldn't believe that. I was like, "How have you got that wrong when we've just played?" Shocking.
Interesting.
Yeah. Just picking up on Jesse's comment there, missed Festi last night, preferring to Andrews. Yeah, I mean, I would say I kind of agree with that over the last sort of month or so, watching Festi Ebisele play. But I say credit to Andrews last night. I thought he did really
Absolutely.
well. Moving over to Yata Larouci over the other side. I don't know what he was. I don't know what he was taking yesterday, but honestly, some of the balls he was putting in the box were superb yesterday, and his forward play was some of the best I think we've seen from him in a Watford shirt so far this season. He seems to be progressing more and more the more minutes he's getting. What were your thoughts on him yesterday, Cam?
Yeah, much like Ryan Porteous, I'd say it's been a really good month for Larouci. He's really improved, and I have to say I completely wrote Larouci off after seeing him completely out of breath after 20 minutes away at Norwich, and just giving away goals left, right, and centre. But he has really turned it around for me. He looks a lot more comfortable defensively now. Whether Tom's changed something in the system to help him, or he's just become a lot better at it. I don't know, but he looks a lot more comfortable now. Like I said, I thought he had a great understanding with Morris, and as Matt mentions here, a really good link-up play with Chakmatadze as well. So yeah, really nice to see. It was a great ball in for Bio's goal,
Yeah,
and yeah, I'm really happy with Larouci lately. I'm happy to see him starting games at left back for us. And I really hope he's fit enough to start the next one.
yeah. I agree. I think he's a definite starter moving forward on that left side. And as even Joe, is it Joe Edwards? I think was the guy in the studio, the Plymouth
Yeah,
player. He even said it's a defender's worst nightmare. That ball that he put in the box for Bio's first goal. You know,
yeah.
he just put it into a real difficult position. The defender's sliding in, he's not going to get it. And Bio, obviously, he did his best to try and mess it up. A bit
Well,
like
much like
a bit
Oxford, really.
well, a bit like Rivich did for a goal, didn't he? Nearly
Yeah, the
like
Norwich away, he tried his best to clear it, but it ended up going in the net.
yeah. But yeah, I'm really impressed with Larucci, and his game's just improving. So the more games he's playing, the better he's getting for me. So I think moving forward, you know, we I think there's time to move on from King Ken now. I think, isn't it? As much as we've all loved him, and you know, he's good for spells when he comes on as a substitute. I don't think he's a starter anymore for us. And you know, we've seen. I'll just touch on this slightly. We've seen reports this week, haven't we, that Malmo in Sweden are keen to bring him over, aren't they? At the end of his contract next summer, so he's probably one we'd expect to see go when the season's over next year. Cam, don't you think?
Yeah, I'd hope so, to be honest. I think that ship's definitely sailed now. I mean, I was not just last night, but whenever he comes on, really, I am a little bit like, really, this guy. And I thought he took a lot of life out of the game when he came on. So yeah, he has been a great servant for us. I think maybe an argument for a different day, but quite overrated at times. But overall, a good servant, and it's definitely time to part ways now. We've got really good competition on the right side with Andrews and Ebicelli. Now, I think it's time we bring in someone who can compete with Larucci on the left.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Obviously, obviously, Malmo are interested now, aren't they? I mean, if
Mm.
they were to come in with a bid for, I don't think they'll probably bid for him, will they? It'd be interesting to see if they did say they wanted him in January. If obviously the club have got someone that they potentially looked at and um, could bring in, whether Sema would leave in January. But yeah, I think it's probably one for the summer.
Yeah.
I've said in the past they don't really like to let too many people go, do they? In January,
No, and that's
only let
fair enough. Keep a
so.
settled squad. I get it, but I do think getting another left back in could really help us.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So moving over to the middle of the park yesterday, obviously Duomo was ill yesterday, so he wasn't in the squad. Obviously, Tom Delibashir is out for an extended period at the moment. So it was Musa Sissoko coming back in and Imran Louza. We'll talk about Sissoko first, coming back into the team. I was really unimpressed with him yesterday. I've got to say, I found him really frustrating last night. Like
Yeah,
he did a lot of rolling around. Um, he wasn't. I don't know. I don't know whether he wasn't quite ready, and he was brought back in because he needed to come back in because we didn't have anybody else. That well, we do have other people, but obviously he's the captain, isn't he? And Tom's going to want him back when he's able to. Yeah, there just wasn't something quite right about him last night. And I mean, he put a great pass through and he held the ball up well, waiting for Bio to come through for that chance that was I say well saved. I think Bio should have done better.
yeah.
But yeah, overall, I didn't rate his performance very highly last night. Sissoko, what did you think of him and his performance last night?
No, I couldn't agree more. He had that one moment, like you said, where he played in Bio, and people seem to be clinging to that to say, yeah, he had a great game, but he did not. And I don't think the captain of your club should be jogging around. I don't think the captain of your club should be running around fouling people, stamping on someone after already just coming back from a 3-game ban. There was no need for him to do that, and it's just petty, I think, and it's not what you want to see from the captain of a football club. Yeah, really unimpressed by him. There was one moment we had someone crowded out 3-on-1. Sissoko runs up behind him and just sticks a leg out, and like no need to foul him there. And you've given away a dangerous free kick when we could have just won the ball back and started again. So I don't understand what goes through his head at times, to be honest. I don't get the decision making. I think Tom needs to drop him at some point because it's week after week, really. We're seeing our captain put in half-assed performances every week. Yeah, I want to see something change there, to be honest. I'm really hoping Duomo's fit for Tuesday, and then hopefully he'll get a start. But to be honest, I think it'd take another 3-game ban to get him out of the team. And if that's what it takes, then to be honest with you, I'm all for it. Because I don't want to see this guy starting for us again. Not anytime soon.
Yeah, it's interesting because the referee didn't see that incident last night, and it was missed by all the officials. So technically, if it's raised with the because obviously the Plymouth players saw something happen. If a complaint is put in like at Blackburn, then the FA review that could be another 3-game ban that comes his way. And obviously, you know, if he does get that and he's out for another 3 games, then I do believe that Tom does need to bring him out of the team because, in my eyes, you don't get a 3-game ban, come back on the first game and within 20 minutes of coming back into the side, stamp on somebody and expect to get away with it. Obviously, he was lucky he remained on the pitch. If it had been seen, I even think, you know, if there was VAR in the league last night, he would have been off.
Oh, without doubt.
And it would have been a penalty to Plymouth. So it's disgraceful. There's no need for it. And I'm really disappointed that our captain's kind of set that example to the rest of the team.
And you know what? If the ref did spot that and sent him off and gave a penalty, I think the conversation around him would be completely different. I think everyone would be saying what we're saying right now.
Of course. Well, that's the thing is, you're right. Yeah.
It's just because he didn't get caught and he's got away with it for now, because he might not get away with it, but he got away with it for now, that no one's really talking about it. So, yeah, it is worrying to see from the club captain. And I really cannot wait for Matty Pollock to step into that role.
Yeah, I agree. I think Tom's got to kind of put his foot down a little bit on that one. If he's out for 3 games, then I do think that Matty Pollock, I mean, he probably won't because he'll give it to Backman for a while, won't he? But yeah, there's no reason why Matty Pollock shouldn't be captain. Jess has said, I do love Sissoko.
Yeah.
Send him to my house for his ban and I'll make sure he's suitably punished. Wow. I mean, that is quite the comment. That is absolutely incredible. I shall be sure to let him know, Jess. If you send us your address quietly, we'll forward it over to him and see if he wants to attend.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. You know, when we was at the beginning of the season, when we were saying about like the most random moment of the season, that could be it.
That's
in the
pod. Yeah. Well done, Jess. We'll deliver that award with Sissoko.
No, no one saw that coming. Moving over to Imran Louza then. He obviously started the last game against Oxford. Thought he did really well in that game as well. Looked like the loser of old, really coming back into the team, isn't he? Looks really comfortable on the ball, good passing, comfortable. Yeah, I'm really impressed with him at the moment, and I think it'll be tough for someone to get him out the side at the moment. Don't you?
Yeah, he was quietly superb again. Very similar to the Oxford game. Just sort of shown for the ball. You know, it's a simple thing, but it's so important, and none of our other midfielders seem to know how to do it. So it's really, really good to see Imran back in the team. The forward passes that he plays, just so crucial to what we were doing against Plymouth. And I said the other week actually that Loser can do in one touch what KMB needs 5 touches to do. So it just quickens everything up. And yeah, I'm so glad to see him back in the team and back playing how he should be, and looking happy doing it as well, because that's probably been the big thing for him, Ran.
Yeah,
I don't think he's been particularly happy over the last couple of years at Watford, and yeah, there was a lot of speculation that he might leave, but I think we can put that to bed now. Hopefully, the only reason he'd leave is if someone better than us comes in for him, because yeah, he's definitely got a place in this team now. I don't think we should be looking to ship him off. And if we want to keep up a playoff charge, you need players like that. You need the higher quality players, and yeah, really nice to see. He's back at the base of the midfield as well, which is sort of where we had him under Claudio Ranieri when he had that really good run of form. And yeah, it's clearly the best place to put him for him and for the team. So yeah, really pleased with him, Ran.
yeah, and I think it's safe to say that Tom's made him fall in love with the club a little bit again and enjoy
Mm.
playing football for Watford, which is great, and just goes kind of hand in hand with stuff we've heard about the mentality that Tom's brought into the group and how everyone's just enjoying being part of it. So it is great to see. And, I think a lot of the counter attack in football that we've been playing in the last few games, or the last two especially, is down to him and his quick thinking and forward passing and great vision, isn't it? And that continued again yesterday. And I really do hope that he gets a long spell in the team, and I think someone like Duomo could really learn from being alongside someone like that in the team. So, like you say, if he's fit on Tuesday, I really, really would love to see him again alongside Loser for
Yeah, I can't wait to see those two
longer
both
than an
again.
hour,
Yeah,
because I think those two could do some real damage together alongside one another.
absolutely. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing that one day. And yeah, I hope it's Tuesday. Because I mean, we've already gone over Sissoko. I don't really want to see him playing, but the rest of that midfield, to be honest, I think it's looking pretty dire. And yeah, Loser and Duomo just they add a bit of something to it. They add a little bit of quality, and it's something we really lack in that midfield. So yeah, please, please, Tom Cleverley, if you're listening, play both of those on Tuesday.
Yeah, let's hope so. Moving on to the front three. I mean, I don't think there's a real need to talk too much about Barr, as you said before we came live. He sort of had a bit of a quieter game yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah,
Not because I don't think he was up for it, or I don't think the desire was there as normal. I think he did try. There was a lot of things that just didn't come off for him yesterday. I think Rooney had set up a plan yesterday just to ensure that he didn't do what he does best and run down that wing, cut in, put his balls into the box like he has been. And it was a real frustrating night for him, and you could kind of see that at times, because I think in the second half there were a couple of times, weren't there, where he kind of went down in frustration. And I think yeah, well, overall it wasn't a great night for him, but it doesn't take away from the fact that he's still just brilliant, isn't he? And you could
yeah.
see there were times last night still though where you could see that he's still got. There could have been moments where he could create more than what he actually did. Is what I'm trying to say. I think.
Yeah, no, I understand. It he was definitely marked out of the game in the sense that Plymouth sort of they used a left centre back and a left back, and those two were very very close to each other when Barr was attacking them. They didn't really let him get 1v1 much, and yeah, they both ended up on yellow cards. So that's testament to Barr right there. But yeah, just not really his night. What I will say though is he completely pinned back their left wing back. He didn't let him get forward one bit. So Yeah, really, nice to see teams are scared of us, basically.
Yeah,
um,
completely agree.
and they're willing to sacrifice their attacking threat just to keep us out at the other end. It's exactly what we need. So yeah, it definitely opened up more space for others in the team. So yeah, I'll give Bar some credit, but definitely not his best night. Hopefully, see him more at it on Tuesday.
Yeah, you're right. Gibson and Mumba, the two people down that left side for um, Plymouth last night, and I actually really like that Mumba. I don't know about you. I've seen him a few times, and I think he's really
Uh,
impressive. He's really, really, really quick.
yeah,
Um, he needed he well, I don't know whether it's actually harsh or whether it was needless, but that foul that he put in Mumba in the first within the first 60 seconds, excuse me, on Sissoko for which led to the yellow card.
yeah.
It was crazy. I don't know what
I
he was
agree.
thinking doing
Yeah,
something that early, because if he had actually done some damage, it would have been a red card and he'd have been off.
yeah. It was very, very high, wasn't it? Yeah, he was quite lucky there. I don't really know what he's thinking, to be honest, but I will give the ref a lot of credit there, because we see refs time and time again go, nah, it's too early for a yellow card. But no, fair play to him, booking immediately. And from there, you're thinking he's up against Bar. Surely he's not going to last the night, but he did, and yeah, Bar wasn't quite at it. So yeah, he got a bit of a let off there.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It's actually just worth mentioning and giving a shout out to the ref, because as as frustrating as I think he was at times last night, there were a few times where I think he blew needlessly, and I was like, what are you doing? Just let the game move on, you know."
Yeah,
Um, he actually only booked Ryan Porteous. I mean, obviously, we know Porto's susceptible to a yellow card like Serialta. You know, they're probably nailed on most weeks to get one. But he
yeah.
didn't actually book Porteous until the 88th minute yesterday. So it's astonishing that we've kind of gone that long without
Yeah,
getting a
and that
booking.
was for kicking the ball away, wasn't it?
It
So very
was, yeah.
reasonable.
Yeah. So we could have actually gone a game without getting a booking, which would have been astonishing for some of the
Yeah.
tackles that we put in week in, week out. Um, yeah, moving
Uh,
over to the. Oh,
quick one from Jess was Mumba then number 5. I think he's number
no, number
2.
two. Number
Number
two
2.
was,
But
yeah.
left back, which really annoys me.
Number five was someone called Giulio or
Oh,
Julio
Zayla.
Pleguzolo. Is
Yeah,
it
something like that.
Pleguzolo?
Something Spanish.
Yeah. He was the guy that was playing in the middle of the back three last night.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, moving over to the other side then, obviously Chavakatsi, I mean, we know what we're going to get from him each game. He was good last night on the ball, and Sky again full of compliments and praise for him, weren't they? And bigging him up, obviously, after Tom's comments in the week talking about him. He'd mentioned that if he added goals to his game, he would get into a top four side in the Premier League. I thought that was a pretty big shout, to be honest. But Joby McAnuff and the guys in the studio seem to agree with that. First of all, Cam, do you agree with that? And what did you think of him last night?
it's hard to say actually. I think he's got this really, he's obviously a great dribbler, but it's hard to see why, because he doesn't really have a bag of tricks like João Pedro did. He just sort of moves the ball on and uses his body well, and it seems to beat everyone. So yeah, it's a really unique sort of skill that he's got, and there isn't really a defender or midfielder in this league that can stop him when he gets going. So he is absolutely phenomenal. Um, I think his end product needs some work. Obviously, the final pass can be too close to the defender at times, um, and he was really frustrating, especially on Friday in front of goal. He definitely needs to add more goals to his game, and I think he can. I think he can get more goals. It might be a case of when he gets one, they will sort of start flowing. He definitely. I think one thing that could help him out a bit is he needs to be a little bit more selfish in front of goal. He needs to stop looking for that pass and just hit one, because I do think he's got a good strike on him. He gets in the position a lot. He just needs to have a go a little bit more, I think. And yeah, that's going to be the key to more goals. Yeah, Friday I thought he was good. I didn't think he was outstanding by his usual standards. But maybe this is sort of the effect he's had, that we're so used to him being absolutely phenomenal every week that I'm seeing him sort of play like that and saying he was all right. So yeah, it's sort of a level we got to with João Pedro at one point. Just see him be the best player on the pitch and go, yeah, he had an all right game. So yeah, Georgie just head and shoulders above everyone. Without a doubt, he'll be gone at the end of the season. I believe we'll keep hold of him in Jan, and yeah, I'm not gonna stand by anyone who's saying he's not a good player, because he is phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree. And like you say, he just needs to add bits to his game. I still think, for me, one of the things that frustrate me is he holds on to the ball too long.
Yeah,
He could definitely release the ball a lot quicker. When he's dribbling, he's not to mention the fact he is superb with the ball at his feet. Even last night, that chance he had in the box before the one that the keeper pushed
yeah.
over, the
Just
Grimshaw.
shoot, just shoot.
Yeah,
You've got 3 chances there to shoot, and he's not
yeah,
shot.
no, exactly. He just tried. He tried to get a clearer path at goal, is what it was. But
Yes.
at the same time, he probably could have looked for a pass as well, because there were other people in the box yesterday. He was just being greedy and wanted the clear sight of goal, didn't he? But he
Yeah,
didn't get
and I
it.
think a Chak Batadze that's already scored a few more goals would make the right decision there.
Yeah,
Whereas the one that sat on one league goal all season is just trying to create the best chance he possibly can to make sure it goes
yeah,
in. It is understandable, but it's frustrating. You just want him to hit it.
yeah.
Just going back to what Jess Bishop-Jones said, her joke actually flew right over our heads. She was making a Mambo number 5 joke, so that's on us. Sorry, Jess.
Oh. Oh, that did go straight over our head. Sorry. um, yeah, like I say, like you said, we come to expect these performances from him every week now, because he just, he's fantastic every week. But yeah, hopefully we will see him scoring a few more goals. And I do think that when he gets one, it'll probably be like Bio, where he probably gets a few in succession, and he'll have a bit more confidence. And obviously, moving over to Bio, we'll touch on his performance yesterday. So I am just there's a couple of bits that really frustrated me with Bio last night. Obviously, he was in the right place at the right time, although he was fortuitous with the goal. I thought it was great for him to be in that position. He got the luck. He's on form. When you're in form, you get that kind of luck. So fantastic. I think he had too much time for the opportunity that Sissoko passed to him. I mean, he seemed to touch it ever so slightly to get it further towards the goal, didn't he? And he probably had too much time on his hands. Whereas if there was a defender there and he actually had to do something with the ball to maybe decide whether he needed to cut in or just drag it a bit left and then shoot quickly, he probably would have done better with it. But because he had the freedom of home park for about 3 or 4 seconds, he just kind of took that one too many touches, and the keeper had plenty of time to set himself. But the other thing that really annoyed me last night about him at the end was, I thought, the way he let the ball go out for the throw-in that led to the ball coming back in. He could have done a bit better there in trying to. I don't know what he was trying to do there. And when the ball did come back in, rather than really challenging for the header, he kind of just half jumped, expecting the ball to just come off his head. And then Plymouth obviously managed to gain possession, and then there was the 3 passes that obviously went over to Gray, and they scored. So while he did his job last night as a striker, I think he didn't really help matters towards the end of the game defensively when everyone was obviously trying to muck in and keep the 3 points within the Watford camp. But yeah, it just didn't happen, did it, Cam?
Yeah, maybe that's fair, but I thought actually last night was Bayo's best all-round performance of the season. Obviously not his best performance of the season considering Sheffield Wednesday, but all-round performance. I thought he was absolutely superb. I've been crying and crying and crying on this podcast about how I want a striker that does more than just score the occasional goal. I want one that can run the channels. I want one that can drop in and link the play. I want one that can win headers. And Bayo did all of that. His link up play was scintillating. Really, he just like the ball. He was like a trampoline, really. Just every time the ball went to him, he bounced it off to the nearest player with one touch. Lots of fancy flicks that all seemed to come off, and yeah, really, really gave us a different element going forwards, I thought. And yeah, there was a nice moment where he sort of picked the ball up in the channel and he actually carried it infield and got a shot away from outside the box. Not a very good shot, but the fact that he created a chance for himself, it's not something you normally see Bayo do.
No, and credit to him for that, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just a different side of his game that's coming out now that he's oozing with confidence. And I also thought in the air he was fantastic. He was winning a lot of flick-ons, and yeah, again, just giving us something different going forward. So really, really impressive performance from Bayo. I'd actually give him man of the match. And you mentioned about the goal being lucky. Well, I'm going to counter that by saying I think he made his own luck by getting in that position.
Oh yeah, he totally did. I agree with you.
Yeah, because as much
did.
as it's a terrible finish, he's in a position where it's very, very hard to miss. And yeah, as much as he tried to miss, he didn't. And
of course,
that's testament to his positioning, which I think is something we're seeing a marked improvement on. He's really picking up good positions in the box, and we're feeding him. We're giving him a good amount of chances, and he's repaying the favor by being on 7 goals so far this season. So yeah, really, really impressed with Bayo lately. The big question mark is, do I think he can keep it up? And I'm going to say, unfortunately, no. I don't think he can.
controversial.
I think maybe. I think after one sort of, he might have a run where he's, not really hitting the target, and then all of that confidence will be drained, and he won't be the player that he is now, unfortunately. But while we've got him, let's enjoy this version of Bayo, because it feels like we've got a proper striker for the time being, and that's not something we've been able to say for a number of years now.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting because he could potentially end up at the end of the month on double figures. If he has a couple of good home games and gets in good positions and gets the luck that he has been, he could easily get 3 goals in the next 2 games. And I think one thing I'm going to put it down to as well is the fact that Tom Cleverley's that front 3 seems to be a 3 that he likes now. Yeah. And I think they're probably doing a lot of work on the training ground together, and they understand each other a bit more. And I think the fact that it's not chopping and changing now, obviously Kayembe was playing in that number 10 role. It seems to be now that I don't really think Kayembe is going to come back into that role now. Cam, do you? I mean, I know he come on yesterday, but I just don't think the position of number 10 is one that he'll be taking up too much.
No, now. I mean, I certainly hope not. You know what I think of Kayembe. I don't rate the guy. I think he should have done a lot better with the pass out to Bayo that you mentioned before the throw-in that led to the goal. There's no reason why he shouldn't be hoofing that upfield, and it's little decisions like that come back to cost you. But I just want to look back at actually Bayo since not the international break just gone, but the one before that. Obviously, we opened up with Luton, and he put in a really shameful performance there. that resulted in him not getting any minutes away at Leeds. But then after that comes on away at home to Blackburn, sorry, and he was phenomenal there. I mean, obviously he had that flick and he won a penalty. He was superb. And then I believe you're moving into Sheffield Wednesday, and this is the turning point because the masterstroke here in management from Tom Cleverley, letting Bio take that second penalty. We're only 2-1 up at this stage. Our penalty taker is still on the pitch. There's a lot of people ahead of Bio in that pecking order. Letting Bio take that penalty, masterstroke, and that's where the confidence has come from. I don't think he would have gone on to score another 3 goals if he didn't get that penalty. So yeah, really massive credit to Tom there. And yeah, since then the goals have been flowing. His performances have been superb. So yeah, really massive credit all round.
Yeah, yeah. And like we said at the beginning, although we conceded a goal really late last night, I do consider last night still a point gained because, as you said, a lot of people had mentioned this week that we should be going to Home Park and we should be battering Plymouth because they're not a great side. But actually, in the form table of or the home table, sorry, of points, I think they're in the top 6, aren't they? I think so.
They're up there, yeah.
So, as frustrating as it is, the fact that we didn't lose the game, it felt sick last night. I was raging when he scored that goal. I literally, Mike was like, anyone want to do a pod? And I literally was in the process of typing, yeah, I'll happily jump on. And as soon as the goal went in, I was like, I can't finish this. I just need to calm down because I think I'll lose myself in a minute. But yeah, it's still a point gained, and the club are still, the team is still in a great position. One that we didn't expect to be at the start of the season. We're still up there competing with some of the best teams in the league, and obviously we've now got 2 home games coming up now. Cam, obviously Bristol City lost today. I think they've had a little bit of a dip. I think they lost the game before the international break as well, so they've lost.
I know they were in a pretty good run of form, weren't they?
They were. I'm pretty sure. Just have a really quick look. I think Bristol City. Yeah, I'm sure they lost. So they lost 1-0. Oh no, I'm completely wrong. They beat Norwich City before the international break. So yeah, they got a good win there. But yeah, they did lose yet today. They lost at home to Burnley. Obviously, one of the better sides in the league. They seem to be quite good away from home, Bristol City, this year. Do you expect them to give us a tough test on Tuesday?
I do. Yeah, I don't think it's one we're going to turn up and we're going to steamroll them. I think there's a lot to worry about. I do back us weirdly. I shouldn't say that, but I do back us for it. And the main reason for that is I think it's so nailed on for QPR to come and ruin our home record the following game. So I do think we'll get through Bristol City. I wouldn't hate a draw, to be honest with you. Obviously, results at this stage, it's not the end of the world if we don't win games. Much like Plymouth, I'm much happier seeing us continue to be a functional team. I like seeing us, play good football. I like seeing us create chances like we are doing. And if we don't win, so be it. That's acceptable at this stage. But I think people might maybe get at me if I say I'd take a draw on Tuesday, because Bristol City, they're not a pushover.
No, they're not. You're right. They're actually doing all right away from home.
They are.
I'm just having a look at some of their results. A lot of them are draws, to be honest. They seem to be draw specialists away from home. So yeah, it's going to be a tough game. And like you say, QPR is the one that makes me nervous because the last thing I just can't. We just can't lose that game. I've got family that are QPR fans, and I don't want to. I'll never hear the end of it
Yeah.
if they come and end that fabulous run that Tom Cleverley's on. But yeah, just a quick prediction for Tuesday. I'm gonna stick my neck out. I'm gonna say my heart's saying a 2-1 home win, but I think in reality, with the draws that Bristol City are getting away from home, they seem to be draw specialists on the road. So I'm going to stick my neck out and probably, yeah, I'm going to just go 1-1. I think I'd take a draw if it was offered to me at the moment.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go with a 3-1 win. I'm gonna be positive. I'm gonna say we win 3-1.
Bio hat trick.
No, Bio is getting one. I think Chakmatadze finally doubles his goal tally, and I reckon Ebiseli gets a goal.
Nice, yeah, that'd be great if that comes off. Well, I'll if that comes in, I'll certainly be asking you for the lottery numbers on Friday. Um, But yeah, so we'll finish things there, guys. Thank you ever so much. Actually, do you know what? Before we do finish up, I've just got to mention the fact that on the score video printer that earlier on at 3:05 today, there was 3 goals that were scored in the entire country, and 2 of them, everyone probably saw João Pedro's name and Ismail Assar's name. So yeah, it was great to see them both get on the score sheet. Shame they couldn't do it more frequently in Watford shirts together in the same game. But yeah, needless to say, great to see them doing well at their respective clubs at the moment. But yeah, we'll wrap things up there, guys. Thank you ever so much for tuning in this evening. Obviously, do hit that like button if you're listening. Obviously, if you're not subscribed as well, please do hit that subscribe button so you get notifications every time we go live. We'll be back, I think, sometime in the week. We'll probably do a review of the Bristol City game, so do keep an eye out for that on all the social media outlets. And yeah, we'll see you soon, guys. Thank you ever so much and have a good evening.